Found messages to my sister on my fiance's phone the night before wedding. I was frosting cupcakes at my mom's kitchen table when my life split into a before and an after. It was evening, the kind of summer night that still smells like cut grass and sunscreen. My dad had dragged the fan into the dining room because the oven was on and the house was a sauna. My mom had a dish towel over her shoulder, her hair frizzing a little at the corners. My sister Claire was cutting tiny pieces of eucalyptus to tie to the napkins with twine. My fiancé, Alex, was supposed to be at the hotel with his groomsmen, laying low and playing cards, but I'd told him to swing by to grab the printed place cards I forgot to bring him earlier. I don't know why the details feel important. Maybe because my brain is clinging to any scene where things looked normal. And I can pretend for a second I'm still in it. I'd made the cupcakes myself because I wanted to save money, and because baking calms me down. If I'm being honest, I also wanted the memory. In my head, I'd always revisit this night. Powdered sugar on my forearms, my mom humming some old Fleetwood Mac song, and my sister teasing me about my Pinterest fever. I was excited in a way that felt like sunshine trapped in my ribs. My dress was hanging in my old bedroom, the dress bag like a ghost. We'd written our vows. We'd practiced our first dance. When he'd left earlier, Alex had kissed my forehead and said, "Tomorrow, babe. It's you and me." My dad came through with a bowl of cherries from the fridge, rinsed and cold, and I ate one and spit the pit into my palm, and I can replay the exact pop of it, the way the cherry juice stained my fingers. A small, bright wound that wasn't. That's the scene. That's the calm. The first red flag was so small I could have missed it in the noise of wedding prep. My mom was talking about how Aunt Linda has a nut allergy, so we should label the carrot cake cupcakes, and something about it made me laugh. I asked Claire if she remembered when our cousin had pretended he had a peanut allergy to get out of eating pad thai and the whole family dragged him for like a year. Claire didn't laugh. She had that pinched look, her headache face, I used to call it. "I don't know, Jess," she said. "I think maybe just keep it simple." It wasn't just that comment. The whole week she'd been off. Quiet in a way that wasn't like her. She's my little sister, but people often assume she's the older one because she takes on the load. The running around, the lists, the details, and the cloning of herself to be everywhere at once. Usually she's chatty when she's stressed. This week she was careful. Like she was walking around a sleeping baby that you can't wake up. On the surface, everything was fine. But I've known her my whole life. Something was taught. I just couldn't tell what. My phone buzzed on the table. It was Alex. "Here." He was outside. I wiped my hands on a towel and opened the door. He was there, smiling, always a little out of breath like he lived at a higher speed. He had flowers in a grocery store bouquet, the kind with daisies and lilies and that dense floral smell that sits right at the back of your throat. "For the chef," he said, handing them to me. He kissed me. He tasted a little like mint and beer. I caught a quick chemical clean smell too, hotel soap. I thought it was sweet that he'd come over for such a small thing. I held the place cards like an award. I remember thinking, I love this man. I really thought I would marry him the next day and our life would start. He came in, joked with my parents. He grabbed a cherry from the bowl, bit it, the juice bleeding down his wrist. He laughed and made a dramatic face at how sweet it was, and my mom tossed him a napkin. Nothing was wrong. Nothing was wrong. I keep telling myself that. He took his jacket off because my parents' house was too warm, and his phone slid out of his pocket onto the table with a little thud. It lit up with a preview of a message and then went dark. I wasn't looking for anything. I was reaching for more powdered sugar, and I glanced and saw just a sliver of words before the screen went black. "I'm scared. This is a lot. C." It could have been anyone. But my stomach did a strange flip. Maybe just because my sister's name starts with C. And also because Alex had told me earlier in the week that he was nervous about writing his vows, and I had joked that he should ask my sister to help since she's the writer in the family. Just an innocent thought, right? I caught Claire's eyes. She was looking at the phone like it was a live wire on the table. Then she looked away so fast her hair swung into her face. My heart started to chew itself. I felt the physical thing, a clench, a squeeze, a sound in my ears like a low electrical buzz. "Babe, can I grab a glass of water?" Alex asked, and I said yes, and he went into the kitchen, and I watched the doorway like if I stared hard enough he'd stay a cartoon cutout, leaning into the frame forever and never actually leave. It's insane what your brain tries to do to stop reality from happening. I picked up his phone. My hands shook a little. I tell myself I was going to hand it to him, but the screen lit with my touch. No passcode. He's never had a passcode. He says it's annoying. We've always been open. We share playlists, grocery lists, calendars. He's not secretive. I tapped the messages bubble. It opened to a thread with C, a heart emoji next to the name, the most recent text at 7:09 p.m. Quote, "I'm scared. This is a lot." No name, just the initial. I scrolled up. "How is she?" Quote, from him, 6:58 p.m. "Stressed, but good. I can't stop thinking about last night." Alex. I think I left my body for a second. The kitchen sounds went tinny, far away, like I was behind a pane of glass. I felt the fan brush my skin in rhythm. I felt the sugar dust itch on my forearms. I could smell the eucalyptus, sharp and green, and the artificial sweet of the frosting. I scrolled up more. There were weeks of texts, not constant, but enough. Photos, not explicit, but close. One of my sister's hand holding a book on her lap, nails I'd painted for her, a familiar lilac. A picture of a coffee cup on our porch that I recognized as the morning after I went to Chicago for a work trip. A selfie of Alex, taken from that angle he uses when he's trying to be funny. Double chin, eyes wide. "Miss you," he'd written. The timestamp, last month. A text from my sister 2 days ago. "You promised we'd stop." The words blurred. My thumbs scrolled, and it was like peeling back wallpaper and finding rot. I saw a string of hearts. I saw, "This can't affect tomorrow." I saw, "I don't know who I am right now." I saw, "I wish I could hold your hand at the table." I saw, "I'll be the maid of honor. I'll be a good sister." I saw, "I stupidly think about us." You know that feeling like you're falling asleep at the wheel and your body jolts awake with a shock of adrenaline because it thinks you're about to die? That. Over and over. I must have made a sound, a small animal sound. My mom's head snapped up. Claire froze with the twine in her hands. Alex came back into the room holding a glass of water, his mouth already open in a question. He saw me with his phone and then saw the screen. The look on his face was the worst thing I've ever seen. Terror and guilt and something softer I don't want to name because if I name it, I'll unravel. "Jess," he said. "Wait," my mom said. "What's happening?" My dad said my name like a warning, but he was really saying, "Do you want to do this here?" And there, in my parents' house, the night before my wedding with cupcakes half frosted and the ceiling fan clicking. I was so calm. I hear myself now like it's a recording. "What is this?" I asked him. I held the phone out like it was a piece of evidence from a courtroom. "Don't tell me it's nothing. Don't tell me it's a joke. Don't tell me I'm misreading it." My voice was steady. Meanwhile, my hands were shaking so hard I could hear my bracelets clinking. Claire said, "Jess, just my name. It broke something inside me." She said it like she used to when we were kids and I fell off my bike, that soft reaching way. It made me want to spit and scream and also hug her. I didn't know which was the real impulse and which was the shock talking. I still don't know. "Jess," Alex said again, and then he said, "I'm so sorry." And I don't know why those words made me angrier than if he'd denied it. The phone in my hand was heavy, my chest was heavy, the room was heavy. I put the phone on the table. Like if I didn't hold it, none of it could seep into me. "How long?" I said. My voice sounded like somebody else's. "How long?" "Not long," he said immediately. And that familiar wave of cliché, how they all say that, hit me. But then he said, "A month." And my brain couldn't decide if that was short or long in the scale of betrayals. A month. 4 weeks. 30 days. The calendar boxes in my mind. The mornings we texted about napkin colors. The afternoons my sister came over to help me pick out hairpins. The night he came home late from work, drinks, and fell asleep on the couch. A month. "What is it?" my dad said to no one, to the air, to make time stop. My mom put the dish towel over her mouth like she was choking on smoke. I turned to Claire. "What did you do?" I asked. I wasn't yelling. I kind of wish I had yelled, but my voice was small and tight and aimed. She stood up too fast and the chair scraped. "I messed up," she said. She wouldn't look at me. She was staring at the floor, at the little knot in the wood that looks like an eye. "I messed up," she said again, and this time it came out wet, and she pressed her fingers hard into her eyelids like she could hold the tears inside by force. "Did you sleep together?" I asked. The word felt vulgar in my mouth, so big and ugly I wanted to flush it out. She let out a small sound. Alex said, "Jess, please." And then he said yes. It was that moment, I think, when the floor actually tilted. Like in my brain, now and forever, I'm always falling forward into that word. My mom said something like a prayer. My dad walked out of the room and then back in as if the doorway had some answer he could fetch. The fan kept clicking, click, click. If you've ever been in a car accident, how the world sounds too clear afterward, like everything is edged. Like the ice in a glass is the loudest thing in the world. It was like that. "When?" I said. "Where?" I'm not sure why I wanted the where so badly. Sometimes you want logistics to pin down the chaos. He said, "Once. Last night." And my stomach lurched so hard I had a vision of myself vomiting into the bowl of cherries. He must have seen my face because he said, "No, not last night when I said goodnight, the night before. I'm sorry. We were going over the seating chart and..." He stopped. He shut his eyes. "Here?" I asked, and he shook his head, then nodded, then shook his head. "At our place," he whispered. And that was another thread pulled and the garment unraveled more. Because our place is sacred to me. Our stupid rubber plant in the corner. Our chipped mug that says "World's Okayest Cook." The light at 5 p.m. that makes the whole room gold. There are ghosts in there now. Claire finally looked at me. Her face was blotchy and pale and so young. "I wanted to tell you," she said. "I've been sick about it. It's not like we were..." She made a helpless motion, and that motion cracked me open wider than any words could have. I saw her own shame sloshing around, and I wanted it to drown her, and also I wanted to take the bucket from her hands. "You were planning to stand next to me tomorrow," I said. "You were going to fix my veil and tell me I looked like a princess and hold my bouquet when I said I do to a man who..." I couldn't finish the sentence because my jaw started to shake and I didn't want to let it. Alex stepped toward me and my dad put a hand out without looking, like he could stop a storm with his palm. "Don't," my dad said. And there was steel in his voice I haven't heard since he told off the neighbor kid who broke my bike when I was 8. "I tried to end it," Claire said. "We both did. We kept saying we'd stop." She laughed, a small, strangled laugh. "That sounds insane. I have no right to say that to you." "You always had a right to tell me the truth," I said. "You had that." My throat hurt with how hard I was holding in noise. I wanted to scream and I didn't want the neighbors to hear. I wanted to throw the cupcakes at the wall and I didn't want to ruin the kitchen my parents remodeled last year. My thoughts were small and practical and giant and cosmic all at once. That's the part no one tells you. Betrayal fractures your brain into millions of precise, stupid shards and each one hurts in a different way. My mom said, "This is a mistake. You don't do this to your sister," and her voice broke on the word sister like it meant something else now. "You don't do this in this family." "I know," Claire whispered. "I know." And then she said to me, "I'll take myself out of the wedding. I won't come tomorrow. I'll go stay with Aunt Mary. I'll do anything you want. I'll never speak to him again." She looked at Alex like he'd cut her tongue out and handed it to her. He couldn't look at either of us. He was staring at the fruit bowl. "Anything I want," I repeated. "Okay, you can go back in time and not sleep with my fiancé." I had a drink of water to calm down. It didn't work. I thought about the guest list and the money and the dress and the hotel rooms and the flight my grandmother took and the little cousin excited to wear his tiny bow tie. I thought about the letters in our nightstand that we can't even read now because they're fiction. Alex was crying. He cries easily, which I used to love about him. He does the hand-over-mouth thing like he's trying to catch his tears before they drop. He said, "I don't have an excuse," which, for once, felt clean and precise and almost like honesty. Then he said, "It started We were talking so much about the wedding, all three of us, and sometimes it felt like me and Claire were the only ones who understood the stress you were under. And we were trying to make it perfect for you, and then we just. He made the face of someone narrating a car crash in slow motion. We crossed a line, he said. It's the worst thing I've ever done. I swear to you that I love you. I want to marry you. I can't believe I did this to you. Why? Like some small part of me needed a solvent to pour over the glue of those texts to see if they'd dissolve. Why my sister? He looked like he might be sick. Because she's close to you, he said. And the sentence hung there, sticky and rotten. Because being around her is being around you, he tried. And my mom made a sound that could have been a laugh if there wasn't so much acid in it. Because she's kind and she knows you so well and she was there. I don't know how else to say it. It's not about her. It's not about you not being enough. It's about me being a coward and selfish and. He put his hands on his head like if he squeezed he could stop himself from speaking. Claire said, "Don't put this on me." And he said, "I'm not." And I wanted to scream because they were having a fight like I wasn't trembling and breathing in frosting sugar like it was oxygen. "What do I do?" I said. I wasn't really asking them. I was asking the fan, the cherries, the place cards, the fake eucalyptus, the ghost of the dress upstairs. I was asking the universe that dropped me here. What do I do? "You don't get married tomorrow," my dad said, and the room rearranged around that sentence. The clarity of it, the finality. It slid into place like a heavy book on a shelf. I hadn't realized there was a space waiting for it. There was a silence where I could hear the blood humming in my ears. Then Alex said, too quickly, a child who touches a stove and snatches back his hand. We can postpone. We can figure it out. I'll do anything. We'll tell people. We can say you're sick. You don't get married tomorrow," my dad said again, a hammer. My mom was crying now in that neat way she does, angry and organized tears. "I'll call the venue in the morning," she said. "We'll lose the deposit, but I don't care. I don't care." She looked at me like I was both a woman and a baby. "You're not walking into a church with a man who did this to you the night before. You are not." He stepped toward me again. "I will never forgive myself for this, but I am begging you, Jess, to talk to me tomorrow. To not let this be the end without trying to understand what happened. We can go to counseling. People come back from worse." My laugh came out darkness. "Worse," I said. "Worse than you sleeping with my sister the week of our wedding?" "I don't mean worse to you," he said immediately. "I mean worse in, I don't know. I don't even know what I mean. I'm a mess. I'm sorry." "Stop saying sorry," I said. "It's like pouring water on oil." Claire handed me the place cards, of all things. "You'd painted the edges," she said, her voice small. "I didn't want them to get bent." It was such an insane thing to care about that it brought me back into the room, fully. Details, the devil, the humanity, the idiocy, the love. It all lives in details. "I need you to go," I said to Alex. "I need you to leave, right now. I don't want to look at you." The words hurt my mouth but also soothed something. A boundary. I half expected him to refuse and then there'd be a scene, but he didn't. He nodded and slipped his jacket on with the slowed-down hands of someone leaving a hospital room after delivering bad news. At the door he turned, his eyes pleading, his mouth trying to find a set of words that could crack the ice under my feet and make a path. He didn't find them. He left. The door shut. The house sighed. My mom made tea like we were at the part of a movie where the characters sit at a kitchen table and figure out what the Act 3 plan is. My dad took the cherries to the sink and dumped them, like he couldn't stand the cheerful red anymore. I looked at my sister. We stared at each other, like in a mirror that doesn't show you what you expect. She opened her mouth and closed it again. She looked so small. I walked past her into the hallway. I could hear her breathing behind me. I don't know why I did it, but I went upstairs and unzipped the garment bag that held my dress. It glowed in the low light, pale and ivory and soft. as if it had been spun out of something you shouldn't touch with dirty hands. I touched it anyway. I put my face into the fabric and breathed in the faint smell of the boutique and the plastic bag and my own shampoo from the fittings. I cried into it for the first time, and I hated that it now held this salt. I heard Claire at the bottom of the stairs. "Jess?" she said. "Don't come up," I said. My voice echoed back weirdly. She obeyed. A small mercy. I sat on my childhood bed, the same one my dad built me when I was 9 and obsessed with horses. And I had the kind of cry that makes you feel like someone is wringing you out by your ribs. I cried for the dress. I cried for the July morning I'd imagined at the hair salon, my friends in matching pajamas drinking orange juice and champagne flutes. I cried for the vows I'd written that now felt like a parody. I cried for my parents, the money they'd spent, their love, the way they were looking at each other downstairs like they were the last survivors of a shipwreck. I cried for my sister, stupidly, because she looked like she was drowning too, and I am built in such a way that even now, I can't watch her suffer without my body trying to throw her a rope. I cried for myself, the 7-year-old in pigtails, the 23-year-old who met Alex on a hike, the 31-year-old who thought she knew the shape of her future. At some point, my mom came in quiet and sat on the floor and put her hand on my knee like a grounding wire. We didn't talk. We watched the tiny pink light on my old humidifier pulse. My phone was buzzing on the dresser. "Alex, I'm so sorry. Alex, please talk to me. Alex, I will check into another hotel. Alex, I told Ben and Derek not to say anything to anyone. Claire, I'm so sorry. Claire, Jessica, please. Claire, I can't breathe." The texts stacked up into a tower of apology that couldn't reach me. Eventually, I went downstairs and told my dad to call a venue. He said he'd handle it. He took his notebook out like a soldier. My mom put the kettle back on the stove like tea possesses a magic that could restart time. Claire was on the porch, curled up on the swing, her knees to her chest, her hair stuck to her face with sweat and tears. I stood in the doorway and she looked up, and her mouth moved around words like, "I'm sorry," and "I love you," and "I hate myself," and I couldn't go to her. I couldn't. I've never not gone to her. We sat there in our family house like people who had survived a fire that was still burning somewhere inside the walls. Every conversation from then on was a triage list. Call Aunt Linda, tell Nana, confirm the florist to hold, email the caterer. What do we tell my boss who is flying in tomorrow? Do we tell the truth? We don't have to say why, my mom said. You can just say, and she trailed off because what phrase holds this? Change of plans? Unforeseen circumstances? Personal reasons? He cheated on me with my sister doesn't fit in a polite text.
At around midnight, I walked into our backyard and my bare feet and the grass was cool and damp.
The air was thick and smelled like honeysuckle. I could hear someone down the block having a party, music and laughter that felt obscene. My mind replayed everything like a cruel editor. The first flirtatious exchange in the group thread I must have missed. The way Claire knew his favorite snacks to get for the rehearsal dinner bag. The way Alex and Claire had run to get more ice tonight, and they'd been gone 20 minutes, and I hadn't thought anything of it. Now every mundane thing was evidence. I felt suddenly, panicky, suffocatingly, that my whole life was a version somebody else had edited without me. My dad called me outside and said, business voice, "The venue's fine. Obviously, we lose money." The officiant is understanding. We're telling people there's been a family emergency. He put a hand on my shoulder and squeezed. My mom brought me a blanket like she could cover me with something that kept out everything. What do I do with the dress? I asked the night sky. What do I do with any of it? The gazebo at the back of the yard looked like something out of a fairy tale, and I wanted to burn it down. I pictured getting in my car and just driving without destination, ending up at a beach and walking into the water fully clothed, letting the Atlantic take the heat out of me. Claire came and sat on the steps, not close to me, but not far. "I'll leave in the morning," she said. "I don't expect you to forgive me, ever. I don't even want you to, because it would mean I'd hurt you less in your mind, and I deserve to know I hurt you this much. I will resign myself to being the villain of your story, and I will live with that. She looked at her toes. It wasn't that I wanted him instead of you. It was that I wanted something like what you two had, and I got high off being in proximity to it. And then I hurt you, and nothing is worth that, and I I am sorry in a way that will reshape me. It was a beautiful speech, almost. I hated it. I loved her. I hated myself for that too. I don't know what the hell we're going to do at Christmas, I said finally, because that's where my brain landed, stupidly. Or if there will even be a Christmas with all of us ever again. I'll make it easy for you, she said. I won't be at Christmas. I won't be at anything. I'll remove myself. I already texted Aunt Mary. She didn't look up. I don't want you to have to be brave around me. I don't deserve your bravery. What about him? I asked the air, the tree, the moon. What am I supposed to do about him? The silence that followed that question is the one I'm still living in as I write this. This morning I woke up on the couch with my mom's cardigan over me. It was supposed to be my wedding day. I watched a sunbeam crawl across the floor, like time was trying to walk without me. We canceled everything. My phone was an explosion of messages, DMs, missed calls, people trying to guess the emergency. It was surreal to watch the social media I had pre-scheduled. Can't wait to marry my best friend, and race to delete them before they posted. Like trying to disarm a bomb I had built for myself months ago. He tried to call. He left voicemails. In one, he was crying so hard he couldn't speak. In another, he said, "I'm outside your house." And my dad went to the window and said, "He is." And we didn't let him in. He texted me a photo of the vows he'd written, only the first line. "Jess, loving you has been the most surprising and effortless joy of my life." And I wanted to throw my phone into the garbage disposal because I knew he'd meant it when he wrote it, and also he had been a liar at the same time. That's the part that's going to break my brain, that both can be true, that love and betrayal lived in him together like roommates who hate each other but split rent. I haven't responded to anyone. Not him, not her. I took a shower, and the hot water made the skin on my chest bright pink, and the sound of it was white noise. I sat on the tile and let myself have 3 minutes of not thinking. That's all my brain allowed. Then the scene replayed again. The phone, the texts, her initial, his "I can't stop thinking about last night." The way my parents looked at each other, like they'd been tasked with protecting me from a meteor. I don't know what's next. The narrative of my life just blew apart like confetti designed by a villain. 2 hours ago, I found myself tying the eucalyptus to napkins again. I don't know why. A compulsion. A muscle memory. A need to do something with my hands that isn't restraining myself from texting both of them something mean and perfectly worded and also beneath me. There are all these practicalities. Return the dress? Keep it? Sell it? Burn it? Do I give the gifts back? Do I send an email to everyone telling them the truth because the silence is a lump in my throat? Do I block his number for a week, a month, forever? Do I go nuclear and call his mother, who loved me in a way that felt like a bonus mom? Do I go to a hotel? Do I move back in with my parents for a while, even though I'm 31 and wanted to walk back into my own apartment tomorrow morning, a wife? Do I call a therapist now, or wait until I won't sob through the entire intake call? I caught sight of myself in the hallway mirror a little while ago, and I looked like a person who had been told a cruel joke and was trying not to let anyone see that she didn't get it. Puffy eyes, hair in an elastic I put in yesterday morning, a smear of frosting on my wrist like a child's face after a party. Today I was supposed to be glowing. Instead, I am an outline. I keep looping on the details. The heart emoji next to C. Who put that? He did? Did she? Why a heart? Why not just her name? Did they think they were being careful by just putting an initial? Did they laugh about it? Did they feel sick every time her name lit his phone up near me? Did they kiss in the kitchen where my dad taught us to make grilled cheese? Did they... No, I won't make myself a movie of that. And the future. The future is a great white wall I can't see past. I'm supposed to be married right now. I was supposed to be taking a photo on a staircase in a hotel, bridesmaids swirling around me, my sister pinning in my veil, whispering some joke that makes me laugh so hard my nose wrinkles. I was supposed to take a bite of cake and smear frosting on Alex's nose and then feel stupid and romantic and whole. Instead, I'm typing this because I don't know where else to put my hands. I guess that's why I'm posting here. I need strangers to tell me what to do when the person you were going to vow your life to and the person who has known you your whole life hold the knife together. I need someone to reassure me that choosing myself by not walking down an aisle today won't be the thing I regret more than staying would have been. I need to know if the ache behind my breastbone where my sternum meets feels like this forever, or if it dulls, or if it comes in waves and you learn to surf them. There's a universe where this post ends with me making a dramatic speech at the altar and pouring the champagne on their heads and booking a solo flight to Paris and finding myself. But this is not that universe. In this one, my dad is making grilled cheese because he doesn't know what else to make. My mom keeps rubbing my arm like I might disappear if she stops, and my sister is in the guest room packing a bag silently because she can't stand her own reflection. My phone is face down on the table because the screen lighting up feels like a slap. I can hear a car pull up outside. A door closes. My stomach drops.
Is it him again? Is it Aunt Linda? Is it the florist because I forgot to cancel the extra baby's breath? Is it nothing?
Everything feels like a sign. Everything feels like noise. I thought my wedding day would begin with soft music and end with sore feet and a new last name. It began with deleting a calendar invite and a long shower where I learned exactly how long it takes for the water to go from hot to cold. It is noon now. I don't know how to do the rest of the day. I told my mom I might take a nap, and she smiled like I had suggested we climb Everest. They say you don't know the strength of a person until it's demanded. I don't feel strong. I feel like Jell-O. I feel like the skin you get on hot milk. Maybe strength is just telling the truth out loud, and then sitting in the chair you're in, until the feeling passes. The truth is, I didn't walk down an aisle today. The truth is, I found messages to my sister on my fiancé's phone the night before my wedding. The truth is, I don't know who I am on the other side of that sentence. I guess I'll find out. It turns out it's a cliff path with fog, and sometimes the ground disappears under your foot and you have to sit right where you are and not move until you can see again. So I'm sitting and breathing. I'm not married. I'm not okay. I'm trying to be alive to the fact that I still will be. TLDR. The night before my wedding, I found emotional and physical affair messages on my fiancé's phone with my sister. I canceled the wedding, sent him away, and now I'm at my parents' house trying to figure out what happens next.